I think it speaks to the difference between how public investors view what's happening versus what the private investors are. And I think the private side here is thinking that there is probably more hype around DeepSeek than there is substance. And I mean, not thinking, I think I want to be clear, that's the bottom line, is that the private investors just see this as being more hype. That's not to say that DeepSeek hasn't achieved anything. I think that they have made progress. I think they have showed this concept of distilling the bigger models, which is kind of the buzzword of the week, of taking a small model, going and training itself off of a bigger model as being a unique way where you can build an open source model. That is progress, but that is progress in a rear. What matters in AI, and this is what I think that the venture world is focusing on, is what's the next step. And what DeepSeek has not shown us is that they are efficient and capable of training the next iteration of this beyond their R. And why that's important is because this effectively is a race. And I suspect that OpenAI is going to, and Anthropic and Gemini and Grok will make it more difficult for third parties to distill their model. And I suspect that that is where some of the confidence comes in the private markets around really embracing this. I mean, to map this out over the last 6 days, I've been investing and covering tech for a long time. This is probably the biggest roller coaster from what we saw with Stargate last week and Zuckerberg to everything that's happened this week that I've seen. And I think it just speaks to how the lack of information is just not clear. I do believe that these private investors have probably a better read into the substance of what DeepSeek is capable of doing.
Indeed. But hasn't the skepticism around DeepSeek caught them unawares in terms of, just doubting China's ability to make high-quality, performing, cost-effective as well, AI platforms? Because China's been at it for years, and people are now realizing that, yeah, they were working. They were just not making as much noise about their AI initiatives. And to that extent, Gene, do you think that the private investors might be underestimating DeepSeek and other AI initiatives coming out of China?
I mean, that's the debate. Do I think that they could be underestimated? If I'd put the probability that DeepSeek surprises again, or I would even put it this way, that DeepSeek or some other open source model, Llama is in a different group, but that we just get surprised here. I think the probability that surprises it to the degree that's happened is low. And why I believe that is that, as I mentioned, I think it's going to get harder to distill models off of those proprietary models. And so I do want to recognize that these smaller models are going to become a bigger part. Open source is going to become a bigger part of our lives. Llama has a huge opportunity in the West. DeepSeek has a huge opportunity in China. And it's a win. There's no question. I don't want to take anything away from that. But I think that when you're in the race to build something that ultimately is going to kind of shoot for general intelligence, I still think that there is a substantial gap that's going to be hard for DeepSeek to close. And so, they're getting the resources, and I still think when you're getting hundreds of billions of dollars, even if you have a novel approach to it, it's just still really hard to compete.